appreciate it. My point for bringing that up is, as a Christian nation that we have been and are supposed to be living, there are many of the principles of God when it comes to all aspects of life that we don't even or have never even abided by.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is noted in that particular passage I just gave you, Romans 13 verses 1 through 6. Before I continue on that point, let me just say, Michelle, I chuckled last week when one of your callers, listeners, texted and asked you the question, are they a chronic reader? If they read all of the various different newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in response to, people having a difficulty, as it were, frequent callers like myself calling in.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say this. Last week, I intentionally stayed away from calling in for the first 3 days because I, too, get tired of calling in the talk shows, even though I find topics very riveting. I get tired of hearing me. I get tired of talking sometimes. So I understand the value of pulling back sometimes. But, for those people who would tend to complain, they either have one of three options. They turn the radio dial. They, to another station. They pick up the phone and call in, or they complain.
Well, we would prefer that they choose number two, door number two.
Exactly. And during the shutdown with COVID-19, I heard a lot of new voices calling into your show for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, that was refreshing and delightful. So I like when I hear new people calling in, because I don't know about the other frequent callers, but like I indicated earlier, I do get tired sometimes of calling, but things are just so captivating. And instead of me complaining, I rather call in and make a contribution.
All right.
Now,
bring it home, because I got other callers waiting.
Okay, yes, my apologies. Well, do you happen to have that script up then?
I do.
Okay, read that for me then, if you would, quickly, and then I'll just go on that note.
Okay. Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you will be commended. For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also as a matter of conscience. This is also why you pay taxes, for the authorities are God's servants who give their full time to governing.
Now, a lot of people may disagree with this God's word, and that's their right, but that's God's word. That's all I would say on that, and let it speak for itself.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Caller, you still there? Okay, we lost that caller. All right. Okay. If you don't want to end up anyway, I think that word speaks for itself. I don't have to add to that at all. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to get into that whole situation with what happened over the weekend, because it's a matter, I'm sure, that's still under investigation, and so we'll see how it plays out. But my question again is that justice is indeed blind. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, caller, and welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Everyone have a right. You give everyone a right to call and voice their opinion. What people's opinion and views are is exactly that, their opinion and their views. And the time has passed for those who keep sending these texts, 50 cents, to send a text to try to belittle or march down those who are standing up in this country. I want to speak to those ones today. I don't care who you is or what you think. your rights is as relates to my life. Okay? Okay? I don't care. You have no right to my life unless I give it to you. And if I don't speak up on the radio, all of our rights and privileges that a citizen's supposed to have, you will never get it. Okay? People, even like us, is fall and would need someone to give us a $50 to go into the store. You know why? Because that's what corruption equals to. At least we're alive to beg for a $50 coupon. What about the brother and the sister were dead? And you all have time to sit on your computer and pay to try to get Guardian Radio to stop, to hang up on this one, belittle his point when he called. Okay? We know who paying y'all to do that. Okay? Now, my rights in this country is exactly that. My rights, not your rights.
Okay.
Okay?
I want you to bring this home because I got other callers waiting.
Okay, Michelle. So anyone who attack you in terms of illegal immigrants being in this country, all right? If the minister who was in charge was fired and they made some wrong moves, yes, the Bahamian people have a right to know the truth. Okay? All right? And those who working in this country, who started business in this country, have a right to benefit from any money that the government borrow. It's a lot of things we need to talk about. But don't point your finger at Michelle, because Michelle is what y'all was asking for, an investigative journalist. If y'all don't like the messenger, accept the message.
Okay.
Full stop.
Thank you so much. We be losing callers now, so thanks a lot. Caller, welcome to the show.
Morning, Michelle. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Michelle, I'm doing quite well, thank you. I'd just like to follow up very quickly on something that JT said that is so poignant. And like he had also indicated, you know, it's always refreshing to hear fresh perspectives from other persons, especially the first-time callers calling into these shows, because basically for persons such as he and I, it gives us an idea of, you know, the pulse of what others in the country, what they're thinking, whether they are spot on or whether there's some misconceptions or whatever that we can address and correct. That is very essential for a fair and balanced society. The matter that I'm really calling about, Michelle, is I see the potential for a matter to reoccur in our time if we are not prudent enough to correct what we see happening before us. Right now, as it stands, with the passage of Hurricane Dorian, we always talk now. The new talk now is the reset moment. This country is actually reset not because of the pandemic, but really because of Dorian. However, I see that our administration has not done due diligence in creating a balance, whereas the things that we complained about were corrected, or there are procedures and policies put in place to bring about the change. I see missed opportunities here. I refer simply to this Abaco, in particular, this Abaco matter, where persons have been moving back to Abaco undocumented. We don't know who was in Abaco. There's talks about persons squatting on other people's lands and all this stuff, but yet we haven't heard from the relevant authorities on how they plan or whether there's any plans to resolve this issue as it's unfolding again in front of us. There's also reports of some of these undocumented migrants and in some of our other islands where the numbers are increasing, but yet we are not hearing from the relevant authorities on what is it that they're doing in order to document these persons. So if a matter such as Dorian occurs again, that we have an accurate or close to an accurate account of who is in this country, whether they're here legally or illegally, there seems to be no account at all for the satisfaction of the Bahamian people. So if this is the way we are going to run this country in closing, Michelle, we're going to have another matter of what we've seen happen just a few months ago. This matter has got to be addressed effectively. The relevant authorities have got to report to their employers, i.e. the Bahamian people, and we've got to put some of these policies in place to correct some of these unfortunate stuff that's going on in the country. And that's what we're yearning to hear from our authorities. Thank you for taking my call, Michelle, and I encourage all persons who have a voice, please call into these shows, and then it gives us a break from calling in to keep the shows lively and provocative. Thank you for taking my call, Michelle.
All right. Thank you for calling. To you and everybody else who picks up the phone, whether it's on a regular basis or once in a while, the show would not be what it is without feedback from you. And that's why we need to hear from as many voices as we can. And I encourage everyone who has a thought or, who has a concern or who agrees or disagrees with something that we're saying, call us, man. That's why that's why it's called a talk show. We'd love to hear from you. You are what makes this show. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
You said you were to call in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hang up this morning again, huh?
That depends
Nothing
on you.
derogatory or anything. Something that is just, I'm not going to say anything derogatory.
No, just remember now that I have other callers, so you can't go on for 5 minutes.
Okay. For too long, we're building the Bahamas, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bahamas, Bahamian English. Persons who get a Bahamian passport required to speak English. Before Dorian, there were calls for persons to move over the shantytowns and Creole. But you know what? The Bahamas government is supposed to make it mandated that persons speak English so that when we have any emergency calls, we speak in English. People will know what to do, because it seems as if they're catering to only one nationality. Why is it not in Mandarin, German, Spanish, or any other language? It's so obvious, like a sore thumb. We're building the Bahamas an English-speaking country. It should be mandated that persons who get a Bahamian passport speak English. And the persons who come in, even if they come illegally, people who they go to who speak English, will let them know in English or in their tongue if they can't speak it, because the government shouldn't be burdened by speaking in Creole in every aspect of our lives now. Soon, eventually, there'll be no English.
Well, I know if I go on that far. And thanks for calling. But, we can't pretend that the people aren't here. And especially if you have an urgent message that needs to get out, you gotta take it to them in a way that they can understand. You can't pretend that they ain't here. And I do believe that there is some stipulation already that you, if you're gonna, I believe it's where if you get a Bahamian passport, you're supposed to be able to speak English. I think that's in existence now. So yeah, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Caller, are you still there?
Thank you for deepening the level of conversation. You really shedding a lot of light on all of that. I'd like to say, firstly, the competent authority, all them fellas, shame on y'all. We don't want to see y'all come around next election talking the same talk, selling the same.
Hurricane, you shouldn't be declared
dead. That was out of order.
Well, that troubled me, because to start off with, whether you are documented or undocumented, and you were there on that island, you were a body, you were a person, you have an existence. If you were there before the hurricane, you cannot be found after the hurricane, you're missing and presumed dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a category that have every right to be included.
Of course.
In the statistics that were being made available to the Bahamian public. And the thing about it, the government did not cause the hurricane. They did not cause Dorian. So for the life of me, why is it that the casualties from the hurricane, you cannot be truthful to the Bahamian people when it comes down to the numbers of possible casualties, those that are presumed, the missing and presumed dead, compared to those that did survive the hurricane? Come on, man. There is no reason for the lie. And on top of that, what concerns me most is that we have a government that seems to chew up and spit out their own assemblymen. And for the simple fact that when their own politicians are taking stand for their constituency in the best interest of their constituents, and it doesn't comply with the party narrative or their legislative agenda, those members those assemblymen are ostracized. So when I see the way they treat their own, it does not surprise me on the way they're treating the Bahamian people. Now, I don't know if that's enough for other persons to continue to support them, but I will not support a government that I cannot trust. As simple as providing proper numbers like the Bahamian people are or you categorize us as just natural idiots, that an event like that, which we know thousands were lost, there's no reason for no cover-up. There's just no reason for any type of cover-up. It's not their fault. So why cannot you be truthful to the Bahamian people? And, this government just have a pattern of saying one thing and doing the exact opposite. So I will never support their leadership, their membership, their assemblymen, because Minister seems to be, apart from Brenson, it seems to be the most senior member of the FNM at this time. And it seems to me that everyone else are rookies to him, and his agenda has to be followed if you're going to continue to have your career. And if you doesn't, then it doesn't happen. But if you're not man enough or woman enough to upon just natural human conviction, do the right thing, then I have no reason to support the entire party. And that's how I feel.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. I have a text that says, "Good morning, Michelle. Who can we trust? In life, our word is supposed to be our bond. I do hope next election people are wise enough to make the right choice. Too much dishonesty in this FNM government. Just 3 years in governing, and they continue to fumble almost everything they got to go now." All right. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Michelle, I'd just like to share one more thing on Dr. Sands.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, right. I'd like the nation to ponder on this just for a moment and realize how serious it is what Dr. Sands said in Parliament. Okay, the fact, like you acknowledge, that he was not challenged by any of his colleagues in government as to the accuracy of the information that he was speaking to, and even more importantly, if Denley Penn, as the person who works in the funeral directing industry, was able to come to your show and provide you with certain information, what level of facts, what level of evidence, what level of recorded evidence do you think, from a medical perspective, the former Minister of Health still has access to, or perhaps still even has? Mm-hmm. This government will never put question to Dr. Sands because they are afraid of the information that he possesses.
Exactly.
And Dr. Sands, if you are listening, please, in the name of country, in the name of Jesus, in the name of the souls that were lost to Dorian on Abaco, now that you are speaking your mind, now that you have been released to speak your mind, please let the Bahamian people know the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you, Michelle.
So help me God. Let's
go back
to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. That the reason they did not say anything had nothing to do with the eloquence of Dr. Dwayne Sands. Trust me, it go deeper than that.
Wells got a big mouth.
Yeah, plenty of them got big mouth, but it was quiet then.
Because they know Dr. Sands know the facts.
Oh, okay.
The facts.
All right.
And Dr. Sands remember, if you've been in a good school, it shows. You can articulate your words, you can pronounce them clearly, and especially if you got plenty of money, you ain't scared of nobody.
All right.
That's the point right there.
Okay.
He is one of them ones who can speak whatever he wants to speak, because you can't fire him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he cut off. He was, you know the protocol of being arrested. You must come in handcuffs. Any damn say, I put it up with a grain of salt. That's him damn. You can see he's slick mouth.
Okay, let's end that right there. Let's not get personal, okay? Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Awesome. Michelle,
mm-hmm.
What Dr. Dwayne Sands know as respect as a cabinet minister, he was once one of the equal among the prime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he should not have been fired. A wise prime minister would not have fired that man.
Boy, I was going to tolerate him. I wasn't firing him either. Not knowing.
Listen to me. Listen to me. If you're going to fire him, the wisest thing to do then, straightforward, is call a brand new election. And to do that, that means the prime minister would have had to come to the public and say, this is some issues we're facing, we met here, or that is now before us, we're bringing it back to the public, and let, like you said, honesty, integrity, and truth was is very far from both parties. Both parties going to have a shock of their life. But what I really call to say is this. This economy is bigger than any announcement that they would have, any one of them who's speaking at cabinet 2020, going for 2021. This economy, the Bahamian economy, the small little businesses would have to create businesses to put food on their table. That's not owned by no political party. And right now, only thing that I have interest in, the only absolute thing, I don't hear nothing else. Well, I only one vote. I'm only one vote. Okay, so don't misunderstand me. I don't care. Amos Jr. Miller do not care about anything else but the Bahamian economy, which should have not been directed only in tourism. It should have been diversified from the time the voices of Amos and others was bringing it. Okay. And then, you know what? Even when these natural disasters come, we would have been able, the individual voter, the individual home, the individual person responsible for taking care of our old people, our disabled people, children, and disabled old people. The natural resources is more important than any economy.
Yeah, okay, Amos.
Or exterior.
All right, Amos, take a breath, okay? I don't want us to lose focus. We're not going there today. But thank you so much for calling. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to wrap this whole thing up. The direction that this show would take and what it would be about. And I remember when I was in negotiations with The Guardian and Dwight, and I were going back and forth with the name and you know, what we wanted it to be about. And I think I am living up to what I intended for this show to be when it first started. And that's why it's called The Paradigm Shift. So we may come with ideas that aren't necessarily mainstream. The whole idea is to get you to think, to open your mind, to stop acting like sheep, and open your mind to possibilities. It doesn't say at the end of the day that you have to agree with them all, but at least open your mind to hear it. Don't be so close-minded that because I'm coming with something that you don't agree with, you're ready to chop off my head. Anyway, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Bahamas. Sel Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
I get my question for tomorrow.
Good.
To ask the minister, give us the protocol of taking a body out tomorrow. That's all I got for tomorrow.
All right.
Sel Malcolm, you all have a blessed day.
Okay. You too. Now, I'm promising you I can remember. Listen, you all making my job that easy tomorrow. My phone been lit right up ever since I announced that Dr. Sands is coming on the show. Everybody's sending me questions. Ask him this and ask him that. I say, boy, y'all making my job that easy. All I got to do is read this list of questions y'all sending me. So I hope people still call in tomorrow. I hope it ain't just about y'all just sending in a bunch of stuff. Call now. Your man could be here in the studio for the full show. 2 hours. Give or take a couple of minutes for the news update. So this is your opportunity to ask him what you got to ask him. And I can tell you what. We ain't going to tolerate, I can tell y'all now, we ain't tolerating nobody calling here and running on for no 3 minutes. Because there's a lot of ground that we have to cover in the 2 hours, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have questions, and if you running on, you can get cut. I'm telling you now. We ain't giving up no precious airtime for y'all who have diarrhea of the mouth and who don't know when to stop. So I just putting it out there now. Pray see, people. Pray see. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Hello, caller. Caller?
Good morning, ma'am. How you doing?
Hey, Sparky. I hope you hear what I say just now.
I just get the tip end of that. That's all right, because I know one thing. You got to cut me first before you cut that 1 and 3 board. But anyway, that's your friend. What I wanted to say, first of all, though, in regards to this chronic caller thing and your show and so forth. First of all, Ms. Malcolm, look how much these talk shows, how much people got good jobs in these radio stations from these talk shows. I know people who used to talk bad about chronic callers when me and JT and all of those used to talk back on Wendell Jones, used to call us the most filthiest names in the world, chronic callers, the same people calling all over and over. They became talk show hosts. Now they became MPs. Now they're in the House of Assembly because they became popular on these same talk show hosts. And a talk show gives the people the right. That's why, Mr. Ingram, open up these talk shows. Give us the right to express our opinions And if you want to call me a chronic talker, that's your business. Because I tell you something, Miss Malcolm. Those that hide behind the text, I could find a name for them that you wouldn't allow me to say on this thing. They are a bunch of cowards. They hide behind everything, but they profit and they benefit for what we fight for. We fight for them, the country, our children, our successors, not the Queen on. We fight for the Bahamian rights. So, hey, boy, look here. Guess what? But telcos make money from the text, because every text they send, they how to spend. Our calls are free. Have a good day.
Standard text rate supply. Thanks for calling, Sparky. Oh, boy, Sparky ran on y'all this morning. Don't be talking about him because he calling it for free. That's interesting. All right. So, on that note, our telephone lines are 323-6232, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4316, or 325-4259, 325-4259. And if you want to spend the change, the text line is 422-4796, 422-4796. And I'm trying to get in right now to see if any texts have been sent. Oh, we got plenty of texts. Okay, so let me make sure y'all ain't wasting y'all money. Let me read a couple of these texts before we go back to the phone lines. Sorry, y'all, I didn't see them. Okay, somebody says, some of us don't act like sheep. We act like conch. Oh, boy. You like beaten. Okay. Another one says, Michelle, these political minions love calling and defending anything that this government does. It's sad. Listening to the Minister of Finance on a previous show made me realize something. We ain't serious about economic diversification, not at all. And there's no creative thinking outside the box with our natural resources. We stuck in the same old colonial status quo thinking. Another one says, 3 dead and only 1 gun. Okay. And another one, please tell me why Sands now come out against the government, no credibility. No, you ask him that to the SF tomorrow. I can tell you. You let him tell you. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air.
Okay. Yeah, I lived in Abaco for 4 years. And Abaco, the population is nothing but Haitian. Let's face it. I work at a resort, and there were nothing but Haitians that I see every day. And I don't mean to put them down or anything, but I'm just trying to get to this count that only 50 people were buried and died in that hurricane is a ridiculous statement to make. I've been trying to talk to friends of mine from Abaco because, I got faces popping up in my mind. Is this person still alive? Is this person still... They say a lot of people were washed out to sea. They can't even give an account. But I think the whole thing that is the problem for the Bahamian government today is that this abused immigration system they had in Abaco to provide cheap labor, or I like to call it slave labor for those rich white people in America in Abaco. Now they can't give an account for all these bodies, and if they try to bury all those people who were in the bees in the mud, trust me, the Bahamas couldn't afford that, and it's just a shame. And this is what the Bahamas government is trying to avoid right now. A shame, a mark. And this will be, this will be a blotch on the Bahamas forever. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. You need to turn your radio down, please.
Okay.
And you're on the air, so we're listening.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
I am good. How you doing?
Good. So I heard, I was listening to one of your callers earlier, and I sort of kind of understand what he was trying to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had the same question, too, that how is... okay, we want accuracy. I know we won't ever get accuracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, how do you determine who was really there and who was not there if predominantly... Well, first of all, as you know, the mud and pigeon pea is gone. It is no more. And... From what I've known all my life concerning those particular settlements, it was heavily saturated with Haitian nationals. And I have no problem with Haitian nationals. I don't discriminate. But, Michelle, we know how this thing goes as far as illegals are concerned. And if they came there illegally and they've been living there, like they raised children, like you came illegally, you had your children, and everybody raised them, no one is documented. The some that are not documented, Michelle, like the guy said, let's just say 4,000, 5,000 at most. How do we determine, did they live, did they die, did they get washed out, did they relocate?
if we never had them on record as even being there, living there, and it is what you call a fact and truth. People were living there in the thousands who were not documented. No one knew they were there except for people who were there with them. But on paper, on some file, on some record, in some office, they don't exist. So it is quite possible 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 may have lost their lives, but because they were not on no documentation anywhere in the Bahamas, on no paperwork to substantiate that they exist in this world, you are left with just people saying, man, I ain't see John Boy for a little while. I ain't see Mary Sue for a little while. So it's fair to say they must see Daddy.
Okay,
but
caller.
I think it's a little...
I will just say this in response to that, caller. I would like to respond to you. They may not have been in the government system, but people knew they were there. And I'm going to read this text. It says, how to count them? Those people work for someone. They ate somewhere. They bought supplies. Somebody missed their presence. Somebody in Haiti who possibly received money transferred hasn't heard from them. What's the benefit of hiding the numbers? The same benefit the government perceives it gets by ignoring COVID infections. Tourism. Who wants to come to Death Island for a vacation? The government was trying to market the Bahamas as other than devastated. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything that texter has said, but don't say that nobody knew they were there, because they weren't just there and hiding. They were there, and they were very much a part of that society.
Okay, Michelle, okay, I would agree with you. What I'm saying is don't say no one knew they were there. What I'm saying is the person, okay, yes, they ate somewhere, they went and they partied somewhere, they spent their money in the convenience store, yes, and someone missed them, someone hasn't seen them. But what I'm saying is their presence, their physical presence, and their spending of the money, and their putting into the economy of Abaco is one aspect. But what I'm saying is the relevant agencies, let's say, just a census list of the persons living in those by name. If that does not exist, the only people that miss it is people like me and you who know them. So we still can. If I go to them and say, hey, my friend John Joseph, he missed it. I haven't seen John Joseph for a while. But do we have anything on John Joseph, a picture, a fingerprint? Do we have anything on him other than he was here and he's no longer here? So I'm just trying to say, I'm wondering, how do we get around the fact that Michelle Malcolm missed him? Because Michelle knew him. She saw him every day when he came to do the gardening. But he was undocumented. On record, he was being paid cash. No check, no nothing, no paper trail to follow. How do we get those numbers? And that's what I think the gentleman is trying to allude to. How do we get those numbers? I don't think we can get those numbers.
At this point, I don't think that we ever will. At this point, I don't think we ever will. I don't think we will ever know the exact number of persons who died in that storm. I don't think we will ever know. That's just my personal opinion. But I got several callers waiting on the line, so let's go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Good morning, Ms. Malcolm. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Ms. Malcolm, you know what's funny? When you hear political supporters just ignore things, ignore people exist just for their political party. Ms. Malcolm, that sounds so stupid to me. And this to me, these supporters of the F&M government, I ain't no supporter of no government. I'm just a Bahamian. But the supporters of the F&M government, they like rabid dogs. They will eat their own just because if someone says something about their political party, even if they was in their party with them. They like rabid dogs. I hear callers calling, and they want to eat me and sound alive. Boy, oh Lord. Malcolm, I hope this over and done with pretty soon, yeah?
Don't hold your breath for that to be. This going on for a little while. This is a chess game right now. And trust me,
Malcolm,
this ain't over.
End soon, you know.
No, it ain't getting soon.
You know.
It ain't,
enough
trust me.
Enough and say enough is enough.
This ain't gonna end soon. Trust me. This is a chess game going on right now. Okay? This ain't getting no time soon. All right. Thank you for calling. I got other callers waiting.
Have a good day.
You too. I have a text that says, morning. Cleveland is an F&M apologist. The F&M can do no wrong. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Caller, you there? Hello, caller, going once. Okay, let's go to the next one. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Good morning, Michelle Malcolm.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Okay, I'm fine, thanks. Here's the scenario that nobody's looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't the Prime Minister and his crew went down to Abaco a few days before the hurricane?
I know officials did go, yeah.
Yes, they went in the mud and pitch and pee to all those
Yes,
areas.
they did try to warn people to leave the area, yes.
Now, you were telling me, you carry a crew of people down there with you, and nobody's going to take numbers from the residents that live there the question one being asked, how many persons you estimate that lives in this particular area? Okay? So they have an idea of the numbers. Don't mind them saying that they don't have an idea of the numbers, but what's going to happen, Dr. Sands is complicit also, because I understand he couldn't have spoken out at that particular time because he's a cabinet minister. I understand all of that, right? But the first question was asked to Dr. Sands by reporters when this whole incident happened. Mr. Sands, how do you think the number of deaths going to be? He said catastrophic.
He did. And
a few days later, when he came back and that same question was asked, the number was dumbed down because I guess through going to cabinet and being ridiculed by the rest of his cabinet ministers and the prime minister, I guess that's the reason why the numbers had changed so drastically. But I'm saying to you, prime minister and whoever the team was that he took with him, which will probably have been Neymar and a few others, okay? You can tell me they've been in all those areas and they never had asked none of the residents staying there what amount of people they think live in those particular areas.
But even beyond that, caller, don't forget now. Remember when they were trying to get rid of the shanty towns before the injunction took place? Remember now, they claim that they went into the shanty towns and they did a survey and they found out exactly how many were Haitians and how many, and they said the majority of people in there have rights to be in the. Remember all of that?
Exactly, and this is months ahead of that. Long
exactly.
Before. How is it now, all of a sudden now you don't have an idea what numbers it would be? Come on, man. But like I said, and you said, Michelle, this is going to get nasty. And this year is going to help implode the FNM government. That's what they don't realize. So the best thing for them to do is
maybe they do believe that that's what's going to happen, and that's why it's all about attacking Dr. Sands now. He's the enemy.
But Marvin is no different than Dr. Sands. So both of them were condemned by the court. So what's the difference? Have a nice day.
Thank you for calling. I have a text that says, I guess the Honorable Minister Dames is operating in delayed response mode since he opted to issue a statement on the matter days later, as opposed to challenging former Minister Sands on the floor of the House of Assembly. I agree with your sentiments, Michelle. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Yes, I really wish that the last caller that you had, Anton, would only check himself. I have never done this any caller before. He had to check himself because the previous government that he supported was in. Freedom of Information Act was passed prior to that government coming in, and it never came forward. Mr. Ingram first passed it, then he kicked it down the road. Mr. Christie didn't bring it back out. And it goes on now, it's over 12 to 18 years, because 3 years into a new administration. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about being truthful and honest in their disclosure? I mean, if the voice of Anton is one of them that him and people really care to listen to. But on another side note, I will make all effort to talk to Dr. Sands with respect to that matter tomorrow. It should be a very provocative topic. But Michelle, you know what I thought about too? For instance, the voting block in Abaco, the registration of voters, that list should have been pulled long time ago, because I am quite sure with the population of Abaco, if you take account, a whole lot of those persons that live in the shanty town or whatever you call it, they had voted, so there should be some kind of ID in the voters registration. And even if the voters registration on there for some reason went missing, you could have got it from the parliamentary registration here in Nassau, and some due diligence could have been done from there.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for calling. I have a text that says, good morning, Miss Malcolm. My thing is, if you have questions for the Minister of National Security, why don't you invite him to the show? Who tell you I'm not? The question is whether or not he'll come. I stay inviting people. That don't guarantee that they can come. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Yes, Ms. Malcolm, Alan Johnson. I'll be quick, fast, in a hurry. I only called because I heard you and others say you don't think the numbers can ever be known. You may be exact, but not exactly exact. But here's the point. It says I've made recommendations to cabinet members as well as to the recovery teams going back in September, as well as some advocacy group in the Bahamas,
that the easiest way to ask is begin to ask individuals who survived the hurricane. Believe it or not, something called big data. You could extrapolate from those things who's missing. I'm very concerned. I want you to consider this, Michelle, that here you have a shantytown with maybe hundreds of individuals, and one of the places you can start with is with the school records. Because I find it hard to believe that young children who was in that shantytown, who did not leave to go to the shelters, were able to survive, were able to swim through that storm. Whereas you could also begin to take a look and just keep collecting data and putting it together, asking individuals who survive or with amnesty, who live next door to you. Just get the information. Don't try to solve who they are. And they'll give you the name of everybody live next door to you, next door to you. And you keep asking them. You don't even ask them who's missing. Who lived next door to you? Who lived next door to you? Who lived next door to you? And as you keep building this database, eventually you will know who is alive and an estimation of who is missing. As far as the persons who is missing, DNA. Once you find bodies, you have DNA. You also have down in Haiti, they have individuals who knows who may have went to the Bahamas, who may have went to the U.S., whatever. And so this is the whole concept of big data. You keep asking questions, you keep submitting information, and you'll begin to find out who's missing. You may even find out some people who even never made it to the Bahamas, who may have died on those trips. And we can also find out who's in our country immediately by invoking an ID system. You know, passports should not be used as citizenship, but we should have an ID system so we can know who's on our voters' roll, who was born in our country, who's connected to who. Here's the problem.
Okay, so you promised me quick.
I'm finished. If you have an audit of the entire digitized the Bahamas and ID system, you'll see the level of corruption across our entire country, especially our citizenship paperwork.
All right. Thank you, C. Alan Johnson. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Hello, caller. Caller, I can hear you, so you need to speak up. Hello. Okay, that person must be having some issues with their phone. Let's go to the break. Take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap this thing up. You're in the Paradigm Shift. Back to the Paradigm Shift on Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. And the last 6 minutes of the show, we're well, I guess primarily this has been, it's supposed to be an open line show, but primarily we've been talking about Dames and Dr. Sands and back and forth with regard to statements that were made in the House of Assembly by Dr. Sands and Minister Dames, taking a couple of days before he comes back with a written objection, even though he had an opportunity to stand right there in the House of Assembly and object then. But anyway, I digress. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, ma'am. I was infuriated just now by the comments that C. Allen has made, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always respected that individual, but he surprised me just now when he came out and said what the whole world is fighting against here is a suggestion and advising the Bahamians and the Bahamas to initiate, which is the digital ID system. And now I see him and also one of your hosts on a show with the WTO as actually being anti-crisis of the Bahamas. Now, back to the situation at hand with Abaco, right? It's tragic to know what happened to all of our citizens and residents of the Bahamas, whereas the deaths and not being able to have closure and all of that, right? And that is part of the wrong. Like that, two wrongs don't make a right. But when you come into a place undocumented, you put yourself in a position where things like this may occur, right? But at the same time, I think the Bahamas government should, and like the U.S. said, Donald Trump says, all the criminals come to the Bahamas to get to the U.S. And if they could do for the not WTO, but the European this and that, getting black flag, how come if immigration is our problem and a way for us to get black flag too, how come they aren't taking this immigration problem as serious as they take the banking system problem and all of these other stuff that gets us blacklisted unfairly? But this is something fair and legit, whereas You know, we have people coming to our country. They're going to the U.S., getting deported. They don't have any ID, but they're saying they're Bahamians, and they're coming here, clustering the Bahamas. And I'm not only talking about our Haitian brothers and sisters, talking about the Jamaicans, the Philippines, the Chinese, the American whites. You know what I'm saying? And I think we just need to have pride in the Bahamas, and not only being able to speak English to get a Bahamian passport, but to know Bahamian history, to be able to say our pledge, to be able to denounce their country and love our country if they want to be a part of this nation. And that's just my 5 cents.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, caller. But we have one more call. I think we can take one more call. So let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the Paradigm Shift.
Hello.
Hi, caller.
Hey, Miss Malcolm, you can hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, Miss Malcolm, thanks for allowing the people them to speak their mind like what you've been doing. You ain't just started this. And I don't know if that was your first call. I'm familiar with his voice. I don't know if others know who that might have been. But it's so good when you can have talk show hosts in spite of what you believe, even if the caller wrong, to allow them to speak their mind. It's some of us out here who agree with what the caller said. Now, sometimes when we express ourselves, sometimes I listen to the radio. I far from the radio, but I know Michelle on. I hear, I said, wonder what she putting in their place today, you know? So sometimes we do sound emotional, but it doesn't take nothing away from the show. I think you're the best we get on the Guardian right now. I ain't trying to blow no wind up in your head or nothing like that. I'm telling you the truth. I think you're one of the best, and what makes you the best, because I think it appears that you agree to disagree. And when Mr. Cleaver was speaking and stuff like that, a lot of us out here agree with him. And when you first started, you said that you believe Marvin Dames. I think I understand you saying that Marvin Dames might have muddied the water. I don't think so. I think he explained it well when he said that in the news, what was in the news, that Dr. Sands had ample or a lot of opportunities as a cabinet minister to express himself and say all of these things, what he's saying right now. So that should be one of the first questions. This exciting with Dr. Sands and what he named Marvin Dames, not cause the judge to say that the judge had condemned them, and people say that they should have been fired longer. It's exciting because, to me, some people say it's like a chicken fight. I say it's like a bullfight. I ain't pulling for none of them, but I'm glad they're getting into this. That's why they'll understand that the Bahamian people need them to be honest and truthful. What Dr. Sands do is overdue. It's not all about Dr. Sands, Miss Michelle Malcolm. I believe that what he should have do is say what he's saying long time. Now it's like he get a vendetta. It's like he can't run a load on him. Like he politically need to release himself. He's constipated. It's not all about Dr. Sands. Bring him on tomorrow. Thanks.
All right. Tomorrow is the day, folks. Tomorrow is the day. What all you do not miss the Paradigm Shift tomorrow. My guest will be Dr. Dwayne Sands. That's all I got to say on that. Okay, news is next on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, followed by The Revolution with Juan McCartney. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks so much for being a part of the show today, and thanks to all of our sponsors for making it possible. Have a good one, everyone.